Namaskaram. You are listening to the Heart Space Heard podcast, where we hold space for raw, real, and restorative conversations around healing, caregiving, and being human. And I am Sree Prathyusha Nanduru. Welcome back to Series 2 Unlearning. And this is our final episode of this series. Today, I want to talk about something that almost all of us have experienced: comparison. And honestly, I don't want to blame the person who compares. I want to go a little further back because who taught us to compare? Think about our childhood: marks, ranks, first place, second place, who scored more, look at her, see how well he's doing. Somewhere, someone was always ahead, someone was always behind. And without even realizing it, we learn to look sideways before we learn to look within. Then we grew up. And then the ranking system simply changed. Who got the better job, who got married first, who bought a house, who earns more, whose child is doing better, who looks younger, who has traveled more, who has achieved more. The list just keeps changing. And somewhere along the way, we started measuring our lives against everybody else's. I have done it too. You see someone doing something wonderful, and suddenly your mind turns towards you. Where am I? Why haven't I reached there? Am I falling behind? And sometimes you don't even want what they have. You just don't like the feeling that they are ahead. That realization was uncomfortable for me because comparison can make you question a life you were perfectly happy with 5 minutes ago. And then there is another comparison I think we don't talk about enough: comparing ourselves with the person we thought we could become. By this age, I thought I would be there. I thought I have achieved this by now. I thought my life would look different. We compare our real life with an imaginary timeline, and somehow our real life loses. Psychology has a name for one part of this: social comparison theory, proposed by psychologist Leon Festinger. We naturally evaluate ourselves by looking at other people, and comparison itself isn't necessarily unhealthy. Sometimes it gives us direction, sometimes it inspires us, sometimes it helps us understand where we stand. The problem begins when comparison becomes the measurement of our worth, because there will always be somebody ahead and there will always be somebody behind. If that becomes your ruler, you will spend your entire life measuring. And this is where I want to bring the conversation back to the system, because I don't think we can simply tell ourselves, stop comparing. It isn't that simple. We were surrounded by comparison long before we had the language to question it. Our homes, our classrooms, our report cards, our rankings, our own relatives, our social circles, and sometimes even the adults who loved us were simply passing forward what they had been taught. They were trying to motivate us, trying to protect us, trying to make us successful, but somewhere in that process, many of us learned that being better meant being better than someone else. And now, as adults, we are discovering the cost of that lesson. We question ourselves when someone succeeds. We feel behind when someone moves ahead. We struggle to celebrate our own journey because we are busy looking at somebody else's. And maybe this is where our responsibility begins. We cannot go back and rewrite the way we were raised, right? We cannot change every system that ranked us. We cannot erase every comparison we heard growing up. but we can decide what happens next, especially with the children growing up around us. Maybe the next generation does not need another adult asking who came first. Maybe they need someone asking, what did you learn? What did you enjoy? What was difficult for you? What are you proud of? Maybe instead of why can't you be like them, we can say, tell me who you are. That sounds like a small change. But imagine growing up in a world where your worth isn't constantly being compared, ranked, and measured. Imagine a child who doesn't have to become somebody else to feel enough. That that would be a different childhood, and perhaps a different adulthood. So, yes, I still compare sometimes, I am human, but now I catch myself and I come back to my life, back to my pace, back to my journey, because my life does not become smaller because someone else's life is beautiful. Their success does not cancel mine. Their timing does not become my deadline. And their journey was never supposed to be my ruler. So, as we close this series, I want to leave you with something bigger than comparison. What are you willing to unlearn so the next generation does not have to? Maybe it's one sentence, one habit, one comparison, one expectation, or one why can't you be like them? We may not be able to change the whole system, but we can change what happens in our own homes. And maybe that's how change actually begins. Quietly, one conversation at a time, one child at a time, one generation at a time. Maybe we unlearn so they don't have to. Thank you for walking through unlearning journey with me. And perhaps this isn't really the end. Maybe it's the beginning of noticing what we carry, noticing what we pass on, and choosing consciously what gets to continue. And before I go, we are bringing you something very special next, an extraordinary podcast on freedom, releasing on August 15th. Something very different, something we have been putting together with a lot of heart. Stay tuned. Until we meet again, be gentle with yourself. Namaskaram.